Hello and welcome. My name is Nicolas Sierra from the Universidad Industrial de Santander or Industrial University of Santander. Today we're going to be learning about FoodCalc. FoodCalc is a program that allows us, nutritionists and dietitians, to process large amounts of data very quickly. Whenever you are processing data, it can get very large very quickly. It can be either processing a single food item in a large amount of people or processing every food item a single person consumes. It gets quickly very fast. And this program is very useful to make the time of calculating it much shorter. But first, you're going to have to acquire it via your professor, the internet, whatever, and learn the hard way that this has no UI. You have to use it via entirely commands in the system symbol. But there is a way to make it much easier if you follow this step by step. You're going to open your file explorer, you're going to go to your PC, you're going to go to disk C, and you're going to make this folder called FoodCalc. You're going to create it, and here is where you're going to store foodcalc.exe. And then you're going to think, how do I use it? You're going to need three things. Those are a database. This database was provided to us by the state of Antioquia here in Colombia. This is a database that contains the macronutrients and micronutrients of 2000 food items. This database is going to come like this, so it's going to come in an Excel. And to turn these types of documents from an Excel, to make them from an Excel, you have to follow uh, a couple of steps I'm going to show you later. So stay alert. Once you have this database, you have to have an input. The input is the information about consumption you're going to use that is then going to be calculated from ingredients into micronutrients and micronutrients using the database. This input is going to come most likely in the form of an Excel, and it's going to have many things that FoodCalc cannot use to calculate the values. In this case, anything that has words has to be erased. You have to erase it because if you don't, the program will not work. So let's analyze this input. This input first has an order, then it has an ID value, it has a second ID value. Usually these ID values have a lot of meaning. For example, the first numbers can be the ID of the person, and the last number can be if can be breakfast, lunch, dinner, and so on. It does not matter what the ID represents so long that each one is unique. And then we have this. This is just the name of the recipe. We cannot use it. It's useful when you're analyzing it as an Excel, but it's not useful for FoodCalc, so you're going to delete this. The code, if your database has recipes instead of ingredients, you can use a recipe code. We are not doing that, so we can delete this as well. The quantity of the recipe is also not useful to us because we are not analyzing recipes, we're analyzing ingredients. So we're going to go ahead and delete this one as well. And now we have the ingredient list. This is useful, but this ingredient list, you're going to compare it to your database and you're going to write each ingredient in the form of a code. We have already done that, so we're going to delete this. Now we have the quantity. The quantity for each ingredient, it's very useful. And now we have a few quantitative values codified, in this case sex. I'm guessing every person was of the same sex. And it was done the same day of the weekday for every person. But the time code differs, so we can use this to analyze. If we want to group the information by the time code, we are going to select the entire table. We're going to go to sort and filter, and we're going to select custom sort. And then you're going to sort them by that data point that you find interesting. So time code. And now it's sorted. And now we're going to go ahead and make this a usable file in txt. To do that, you're going to go to hit file, save as, browse, and then you're going to select either CSV MS-DOS if you're in Windows like me, or CSV Macintosh if you're in Macintosh. Save. Oh, there is a problem. What is it? You cannot use any cheats, any books that have multiple cheats. So we're going to delete this cheat. Yeah. And we're going to delete this other cheat as well. Now we can go ahead and save. Browse, input, .csv, msdos, save, and we have it saved. Now we're going to open that CSV file, input.csv. And we are going to see that this is not the notation we want. Oh, what's going on here? This can happen many times, and you're going to delete this. You're going to go to edit. I'm sorry. You're going to go to edit, replace, and you're going to replace every single comma with a dot. You're going to hit replace all, and then you're going to replace every single semicolon with a comma. Replace all. And then you're going to save as input.txt. The name can be anything, so long you remember it. And then we're going to write this file. This file is what tells the program what to do exactly. Foods refers to the database you're going to summon, you're going to use to calculate the input. So you see we are going to use database.txt, that's correct. And we're saying to the program that codalim is the code that refers to the singular food item or ingredient we're using. You see, codalim is the first here, and codalim is written exactly the same here, so that's okay. And then the input is input.txt, that's okay. And then we're saying that the code for the food ingredient is code. Is it here the same? No, it is code 2. Ideally, we want every single food code to be the same so the program doesn't get confused. So we're going to change this to codalim exactly the same way it's written here in the database. And we're going to save. Every time you make any change, you want to save. And here you're going to write the same, codalim. And now the quantity, G. You want the quantity in every place to be exactly the same. You come here and everything is in G's. But in input, we are dealing with quantity G slash ML. It is true. In real life, there is a lot of nuance about this. Not every single thing is in G's, not every single is in milliliters or grams. But the program does not know this. These are just names for the program, and we want them all to make sense to the program. So we're going to delete everything other than G. We know it's not actually true, but this is what we want the program to know. And what we do every single time, save. Back to order. And now we're going to see. Now we can write group by colon, and what we say where we're going to group it by time code. And now it's going to be grouped by time code. Now, input scale. This refers to grams if you have written here 0.01. If you delete this 0, for example, this becomes kilograms. But no, this is a grams, so we can leave it at 0.0.1. And now we can write a name for the output you want this to make. It's going to be a txt that includes all the information, and we can name it, for example, only tutorial output, as it was written there, because I'm a little bit dumb. I am sorry. You go to archive or file and save. Whenever I finish this, I just save all of them just to be sure. And then we're going to the next step. And now we're going to summon the program, the system symbol. Oh, sorry. You can just write cdm. And we are going to execute FoodCalc. To do so, as we did before, we're going to write cd dot dot cd dot dot until we get to just C, and write cd FoodCalc. And now we have to write FoodCalc to invoke the program, hit space, and write exactly the name of the order. In this case, order guide.txt. And we are going to get two new files. Order guide.log that tells us how it was calculated, it tells everything went well, it went smoothly as you wanted to go, and you're going to get this output. This output is the information you wanted, but looking at it like this is honestly very confusing. So how can we make it make sense? You want to go to your Excel, you want to go to File, you want to go to Open, Browse, FoodCalc, All Files, and select your output, in this case, tutorial output. Here, you want to select My data has headers. Now you're going to uncheck tab and check comma. Your text qualifier, you want it to be none. Now you're going to go to advanced. The decimal separator, you want it to be comma, and the thousand separator, you are going to look carefully for this one that has nothing and select it. And now you can click on finish. But here you are hitting another problem, which is that Excel does not recognize dots as the decimal point. It recognizes commas. So you can just select all of this, find and select, replace every dot for a comma, replace all. And now you have a perfect understanding of how much water was consumed in every single time. For example, this can be breakfast. This should be breakfast. So 284 grams were consumed in breakfast. And you can do the same thing for every single other thing. This is what makes FoodCalc so amazing. Thanks for watching, and we greet you from the Universidad Industrial de Santander. It's been a pleasure.